Okay, so we're back. So happy tomorrow to you. Um, Happy today. And for Facebook group viewers, we're going to continue on. What makes this chart interesting is we can take any dot and play any key and use it as an entry point for any key. Now it's not as versatile as it sounds, and the more versatile something is, sometimes the harder it is to learn how to use. So rather than say starting from any dot, we might choose a key first and then try to think about the best dot, or derive which the best dot to start on. Okay, so let's look at the key of E here. Okay, I don't really want to do E, but you got to start somewhere. So E would be the root in the E string shape, just starting on the top of the circle here. It would be the root. Now, a little word about 7 and root and 3 and 4. Okay, they're in the same cage. So we kind of treat them as one note. In the caged circle, I can't seem to get my caged circle here, right here. In the caged circle, when we're going C, A, G, E, D, okay, we have note sharing, and in the C, with the C string pattern, 3 and 4 are considered one note. Not one note, but they're both shared. So the 3 and the 4 is shared with the D, the from the previous cage. You get caged, caged, caged. C-A-G-E-D, C-A-G-E-D. So D goes to C. Both notes are shared, and in the same way, um, with G going to E. Okay, so we got 7 root. The 7 root are shared. So these are endpoints, and these are outer notes and inner notes of the next cage up. All right. So this is my approach to the problem. So if you can play an E-shaped 7 root 2, you know you can play a root. And the same thing, which I find a little more appealing, is if you can play a C string fragment, and we would call it a C-shaped cage if C was the bottom string, if the C string pattern was the bottom string, such as like this one's almost a C cage, except it's only 5 strings. C would be the same on top, and then these top two guys would be warped over, right? And they are warped over, but that's not intentional. This is a pattern list. So really, if I want, I should have drawn them as this is an S2L, this is an S3L, as with this diagram. So these are properly drawn. So we got the same thing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root, the C pattern, the G pattern. So if this is the bottom string, and you would just put this on the top, in addition, we'd put that on the top there like this, right? And then adjust for just it takes too long. So right there, that would be your unwarped P4 tuning um, C cage. All right, then it would be the key of C. And then in the real guitar world, where we have the tuning warp, we would just warp that over. And let's focus on doing a good job doing that first before we worry about what was I talking about. So that would be your play it as you see it, key of C. Okay. All right, so I think what we were talking about was that this particular diagram here didn't show the S2L and the S3L, didn't show the pattern stacks as they really are. It's just a list of assignments of string patterns, their letter assignments, and what mode they actually represent. So with the D pattern, okay, if we find a D somewhere, hello D, right here is a D note, because over here we have the D note is the purple note. Okay, so in the D pattern it would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5 warp up, 6, 7 root, and then 2, 3, 4 on top. We'd have a D-shaped C there, D major shaped C, but this is actually a Dorian pattern in the key of C because we're starting on the second degree. So let's look at, once again, we're going to try to look at the key of E, right? So say someone says, what song are we playing? We're playing in the key of E. Okay, and you just have this guitar, it's tuned, and it has these dots on it. But you don't have any sticky notes to go, okay, key of E, well, that's green. Okay, I'm going to play my green notes here. All right, let's go. You know, or something like that. You don't have that. You just have the dots. So what do? Alright, so we're going to look for a dot that we want to start on. Obviously, it would be the E dot. But what pattern are we going to play from that E dot? So we have information. We have the key that we want to play in, and we have the dot that we're going to use. But guess what? Since there's an interval that E can play in between the B and the C sharp, which is the 5th and the 6th of E, and this between the 6th and the between the 6th and the root is also a G shape because it's 6, 7 root. 6, 7 root in the key of E, and I'll show you that. Okay, going back a couple of charts, when I had originally assigned the key of E to the as entry point from the B dot to the C dot, but also in the A shape, but also E owned, or so we thought, from the C sharp to the E dot, we have full access as an E dot there, as a key of E G shaped. Okay, as it turned out, the key of A is the best choice there because what we have here is the 5th of the key of A is E, and it says a little teeny weeny E right there. So a G-shaped E in the key of A between that C sharp and E is also a G. It's also a G shape rather, and it's also an E. So it's an E, and in pentatonic you can't tell the difference. In diatonic it would be a mixolydian E. So for the key of A, if you follow the A scale from the E, it would be so you get that D natural, which would be give it the mixolydian, the dominant. It would be E dominant. Sit back to A there. So, but nevertheless, we can look at what the other pattern had. Skip this one and back over here, and so we're looking at E. This is just a little background. We want as much information as possible. We don't want to let the subject matter fool us. Okay, so we were talking about the key of E, and we have to get specific when it comes to dots and choosing a key. So we can't, like, go halfway through, let's talk about how to get to E, and then go, oh no, wait, changing my mind, I want to change to B flat. We want to continue and find out what we need to know about one choice, one key, and right now it's the key of E. So there we go. So back to here. For the key of E, our best choice is going to be probably the E shape right here. All right, but remember,